Right. Hi, Miriam Ghana for good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Mejidi se ubia ehoye. Greetings to everyone. Yebabi di oman Ghana ehon komo. I.e. President Mahama. Okay, let me turn off this side light here. This lamp is making my video look dark. Is it better? Yeah, much better. Me saw my side lamp and I my video near dark. Anyway, mejidi so bia eho ye yeba bedi nkomo a yeba bedi efa ye president John Dramani Mahama eho and a bit of other random news na yeko. Maud, good afternoon, darling sis. Good afternoon. Nice to see you too, my dear sister. I hope so. So, and then there's been a lot of random and nkomo floating about. First one, Agrada. Oh, many Ajama Agrada. I know, say a lot of people are going to disagree, but hey, yeah. So your sister Agrada, nim asema eto your sister no. But apparently she's won her appeal, or the case normally appeal etumu. So the 15-year prison term has now been quashed to like it's been reduced to a 12-month term. They're kind of 12 months basically. Na wabefi. So yeah, all the best to her. And we hope that she's learned her lessons. We hope that Obefia she'll be a refined person, a much more better version of herself now. Yeah, all the best to Agrada. Debia mekamisi obia and tanyo obia name na baby na niema kekako with her no. I think say na asotwi kakra we na ehuhia say na was say banesa no many agia magrada na my husband no Angel Esiama, he did something that was so funny, on my top. So he had another top underneath that said pray every day. And I thought, yes, the power of prayer. If indeed that's the message Anna Angel Esiama was trying to put across through the inscription on his t-shirt that read pray every day in a day, then or also dear. Yeah, because prayer works. Prayer moves mountains. It is empire. Angel Esiama GD say empire. And ama omenya verdict ya omenya ne ene any hallelujah, praise the Lord. Empire body, whichever way you look at it, empire body juma pa. And he's been a supportive husband, I think. He stood by his wife. Wayadie. A lot of men and go meja wako, yeah, but watch say na odoye sister no. Yeah, kudos to them and we wish them all the best. Say obefia. Okay. Now UK politics. Oh my days, there's a lot going on in UK politics, Labour Party politics at the moment with Prime Minister Keir Starmer and a sort of like wrong judgment or misjudgment on Lord Peter Mandelson. Well, he's no more Lord Peter Mandelson. On Peter Mandelson's appointment as a UK ambassador to the United States of America. As he say, Yajisa position no efrinism, as well as he's resigned from the House of Lords. He's also yesterday, the Prime Minister said he spoke to the king and the king has agreed with him that he should be taking off the Privy Council. Peter Mandelson he's taken a blow for his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the way na niema esi call UK hano, I am afraid for the Prime Minister. Munim say UK had accountability. And I know there's a secret code be whenever you hear a Prime Minister apologizing for like a wrong judgment he or she made that, then you know say enche be a podium no. Yeah, the podium never be see Downing Street abonting ho. It's just a matter of time before you hear the voices resign now. Not just say I am really afraid for the Prime Minister. And because we all put in a lot of effort in our own various ways to make Keir Starmer prime minister. I mean, those of us who went out in the rain, in the sunshine, in the snow, knocking on doors, canvassing, driving long distances to meetings, giving up our evening relaxation to join training sessions online, etc., etc., all to make Keir Starmer prime minister. But they say all our efforts down the drain. We are following Enra Prime Minister's question time and then some kitwa. Hey, Nigeria nearby Kemi Badeno, Eurabane near ding. Now, Enra, she gave the Prime Minister just a knockout. It was a complete knockout during the PMQs. Anyway, we are following. And then also Victoria, sweetheart, Mepacho Michel. And then also your friend is saying Bill Gates, Microsoft. And also say he's also having to answer questions. Na enro mo kopel mo some Sky News. Kopel mo some interview the ex-wife Melinda Gates. And I'm say, you know what? Keep me out of this. Keep me out of it. Mama on one kasambrambe answer the questions and I say, yeah, damn right. Mema sebi, mema kudi how do I say it? Nkwara bonesem, yeah, mema kudi nkwara bonesem wia. Na afe na ato eyire no mo no say eyire no mo na emra me cover wo mo there be Melinda Gates say onye. Also want make over be a mama on answer questions no. Nti anape who Bill Gates and so interview omo yi kakre bi a kire yen a deny say he never went to the Epstein the islands no. He never went there. He never saw any of the young women in this whole Epstein connection, this whole saga going on. In other words, or no Bill Gates no or tetenu who free. But Boba, Madam Fuibe say Boba. Koshi, where are you? Come and write Boba for me, sweetheart. Boba. Yeah, follow, but fingers crossed. Like I'm not too hopeful for the Prime Minister. UK had dear only wine obeko. And then the me pewa abrofono only wine obeko. Ah, sweetheart, you are here, Boba. I've been thinking about you the whole time. Boba. I know, right? Only wine obeko. UK only wine. And in the moment you hear how I can start my day so unfoldy. Yeah. Johnny Kuma Pachomichi. I'll say hi, Marie. Johnny Kuma here. It's been a while. Say you've not been coming to say hello to me. I hope so. Happy New Year. Mariam, sweetheart, sis, thank you so much. Good afternoon. And labor politics is in turmoil, just like the Tories were in turmoil some time back. Campaign to this is how the tables turn in politics. Tables it's me turning just like that. When you're careful now, you're too about to be na party now about power no so about power it takes one mistake and when you're careful like you are out. This is why I'm never complacent. I don't like complacency. I'm always like, let everybody continue on their best behavior, let everybody continue working very, very hard, no complacency until we cross the finish line. And that's about it for UK politics. We are still following, but Kemi Badenoch is capitalizing on what is going on with Keir Starmer and to watch the Prime Minister really like bend down and the facial expression and everything. It was so heartbreaking to watch. I'm like, wow. Say in reality. And this is a lawyer. This is somebody who used to head the Crown Prosecution Service. And Keir Starmer used to be the head of the Crown Prosecution Service, and for him to have missed Sanyama Wegina on Peter Mandelson, you know, and you see, a very similar to Boris Johnson's situation. No, you cannot say to the British public, say, na minim me sorry, mon fanche me, da 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 da. That be British for the sign of you. Especially when you knew before. Na nkrofo atiti ho akyerɛw ɛna wo bu ani gu so na wo kwa appoint no ɛna asɛm we nim gu ase we akwa and now you're coming out to tell us this morning so we are sorry. And Labour Party no and apparently the MPs are angry, very very angry, and adiane before no so started internally UK ha started internally dia na say one ye careful we ya no. Mr. Johnny Woods said the Prime Minister just got here. What happened? Politics apart. Yeah, that's the UK for you. That's the UK for you, Mr. Woods. UK had dear. I'm afraid for him. I am really, really afraid for the Prime Minister. I am. I mean, I don't know how he's going to get out of this. But it's all still unfolding. I see it as a case of wrong judgment. Because, and then to even say, you know, the Ekosono, as a Nipenya Kuma, Nipenya Butre, a borders on national security, and say like the excuse is not try so bemano. Then a border on national security is a wakwa point you be a sebi now you're pedophile. And you claim you didn't know, and I can be bad on a Bisan and Rano. Say, if the Tory Party Research Department could pick up all this from the internet, just through normal Google searches, how is it that Downing Street seat of government research team could not pick these things up? Meaning, I know him. Maybe a wubu when you go so. I want to say question mark and ababedano. I quite say, Mr. Malik, good afternoon to you. I quite say Boris Johnson DNB. Boris Johnson, there be a some campaign, and me can say Boris Johnson, and you don't organize a Christmas party. No, it was the staff that organized the Christmas party. He just attended, and on no one check or komu, just or far drink kakrano packet of crisp or ye back who be so or read packet of crisp. But video no better abontin or be as there be una prime minister, una washishamra, social distancing, no money ade will be answer them lockdown. And the wrong judgment. So who to na kura si mu na wusan pie ye kura na common sense should have told you say na enisa ka wukọ in the first place. So na abrofo dwene. And you jina so an you did two Boris Johnson free so le stress ba ye ono so be ye ne de one chair okọ ye Rishi Sunak so ba ye ne de na the party affected no nti anhye dan kwa nkosi baby. And na ya ma kwesi kwati ono finance minister, chancellor of the exchequer. Or also one lasting, God knows how many days that one lasting. And the question kwati mu nyina pia ba bonte air kasa against Prime Minister Starmer because you've given them the cause to. You've given them reasons to now come out and criticize you. What I say, you know, it's taught. There are so many lessons in there. Say, we just got to be careful in life. Wrong association. This whole thing boils down to wrong association. You know, and how money indeed is the root of all evil. Because then Peter Mandel say more, your friend is saying Prince Andrew, no, even Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, Sarah Ferguson, Susanne made the call Epstein Hall, you know, Bill Gates, Simone, idea, and your friend is saying, Virgin man, your friend is saying, Sir Richard Branson, Mona, Aquani Sikenti. I thought that in Peter Mandelson's case, from what we are hearing, Sikeni Bre, that sometimes Kurana allegedly would me ton UK national security information edema Huawei Sika in exchange for Sika nomina de. Now Norway nomina de are also calling for investigations. Some person say Putin, so not Putin, so any link to Guyana, and you know, and same baby. But anyway. We'll talk about that another time. We'll do a separate video on that another time. For today, we're coming to discuss President Mahama. Now, President Mahama is in Zambia on a 3-day state visit. Now, and I pay sorry, Yeah, Titi say Ghana for binom any Zambians no ento akasakasa kakra ba Ghana for any Zambia for ntem. Akasakasa na free here. Apparently, Enra President Mahama, we all saw videos and images of Amra Oniye, beautiful First Lady Mrs. Lordina Mahama, Womo Lande or Zambia. Na President Mahama, of course, in his traditional fugu, and I said batakari. Na ya mame Mrs. Lordina Mahama, so Bashane slits and a kaba kama the red scarf they're very, very beautiful. And of course, they were, hand in hand, holding each other's hands, very romantically, so beautiful. Na could almost if he play no could do Zambia. Yes, in Zambia, the only Zambia for when they say President Mahama Fuguno, a blouse, a ma blouse. And to the akasakasa bagana for Zambia for ne obi posti images or photographs of them in fugu. Mekura ma posti my husband na washe fugu ni bia enkofo edia channel. Na I see it as an ignorance, from a point of ignorance. And a key aspect of diplomacy is respect for each other's cultures, each other's traditions, each other's systems of governance, each other's politics. Ain't na say we a diplomat mpo na we a diplomat. If I say we a Ghanaian diplomat, will krobi soa. You don't involve yourself in the politics of sa ikrono. So, for example, there are so many Ghanaian politicians in the UK here. You know, you ba Abana, ba Bell, our House of Parliament near dear. But you never, even though you're of Ghanaian descent, you never really hear them involve themselves in Ghanaian politics because they are British politicians. So they stick to their British politics. So they might attend events, Ghana events here in the UK and all that, but they will never involve themselves in anything to do Ghanaian politics. The same way with ambassadors all over the world or Ghanaian diplomats in any capacity. You do not involve yourself in the politics of that country, maybe host country, And I would have expected, say, Nanka Zambians, no so dudwana benim, international relations and how it works, and our bilateral relations, multilateral relations, how these things work. Therefore, President Mahama Bidu, Anka, Mobe share the prospects of why President Mahama has been invited into your country on this 3-day state visit. Empo Ene, he's given a speech at Zambian parliament and all that. But I'm saying you know Zambia for no woman fair no anyasem and no descending on Ghana. Any President Mahama Fugu no shale. So I think it's just ignorance. And if it's ignorance, then we really don't have to fight them. We have to educate them. And no insults, because then it will defeat the whole objective of President Mahama going there and all the bilateral agreements between Ghana and Zambia they are trying to reach. So let's use the opportunity rather to educate Zambia for. I say let's not insult them, because I've already seen a couple of posts even on Facebook from some of my own Facebook friends who have taken Zambia for any so traditional wear or mode Ghana ni or fugu ato nchenya or it's like mocking Zambia for it and say, what is this? The kind of write-ups people are making. No, let us show them say Ghana for ye near BA, ye near T. Sebi, you're educated. All this, all the wasa mobile so we will rather educate you in the diwatem. So let's use the opportunity to educate Zambia for. Na yemo who say Ghana dear, we respect each other's cultures. Intina akanini krampo a ube who say a time be one. Even in our parliament in Ghana, there are so many times where you see the Akan members of parliament wearing the fugu and so on and so forth. Speaker of Parliament, Speaker Bagbin say, or try say Tambiano, obey all the cultures from the various regions in Ghana to portray young culture. In fact, I did Speaker Bagbin by a wire ever since he became speaker. One fan suit and tie, nemum, or de yang Ghanaian cultural attire no. Etna Nakonyoma, Speaker of Parliament, to really represent the rich Ghanaian culture that we have. Momaminko speaker page Enra and a Yonko Ghana Parliament page. Enra said you know show Parliament na FPA. And I said I know more resume and Enra was enriched. Maybe it was so beautiful. I mean, look at him. Look at that. Anything. Meaning it's a TikTok there because of the green screen. But look at this. Effect. Which I think this is more, I'm just guessing, but I think this is leaning more towards Volta region. And our Volta region are here for dressing. And I think that this is more Voltarian. And I'm a boy, you know. And so I think so with this whole Zambian, Ghana-Zambia fugu situation, yeah, kosui. Me who say wa posti a photo of him on his page 3 hours ago. I was sharing fugu and not hono. So let us educate Zambians. So senior chuke mpacho and rather no focus on the positives of Adekuntia President Mahama Ekoho and the benefits of the agreement. No, one of them being the visa waiver agreement that almost signing. Apparently, I listened to Honorable Okudjeto's speech. He spoke, then President Mahama also spoke. So it was Honorable Okudjeto, a Black foreign minister. He broke the news that President Mahama, I think, or no Koja President Mahama, and President Mahama had instructed him. And what I believe what he said was that as part of the preliminary discussions, President Mahama had instructed him, say, "Oh, making sure say obenya sa visa waiver agreement, and so they had reached that agreement the night before Enra. Today is Thursday, so they reached that agreement on Tuesday evening. Then yesterday, President Mahama arrived there in Zambia, and so as we're speaking now, Ghanaians, Bitmiako Zambia, visa-free. Zambians can also come to Ghana visa-free. Now, why are we fighting? To Ghana-Zambia, no, yeah, Mr. Jiman Pacho Michiao. So yeah, I'm yet to listen to President Mahama's and meaning so much almost saying share meetings. I haven't really paid attention to meaning other agreements that or more they've come to. But I believe there's a lot in the pipeline between Ghana and Zambia. And then when I listened briefly to him speaking in their parliament, now all catch more about the gold board, nasifo. So yeah, there's a lot in there. You will follow later. But the main purpose for being here today, a major achievement to be a President Mahama Enya. I know it's been celebrated across social media, but I don't think say ye di hon komo enough. It's been celebrated widely and also broadly, but I don't think say ye di hon komo enough. And na me pese ye di hon komo ene, and then ochina enya me pena se meet me ba. There's another report I saw yesterday on Ghana Yankwara na adolescents. About 13% of Ghanaian adolescents are alcoholics. And no report to be a me who ye and me pochna se me time a meba na ye di enoso ehun because I hope got 13% of Ghanaian youth adolescents ne woman on alcohol. Just a woman bunsa. Mobo pa. Now maybe 13%. That's a huge number. That should be very concerning to every Ghanaian adult. Unemployment plays a major role. I said, nature say ya ba say nkwara like as a hope we need hope. But I was say man nkwara who said there's hope. This is why President Mahama is here. Nti no enya me pa ochina me per time na ya ba be this report no ho nkomo. Okay? 13%, that's a staggering number. Which video are you talking about? God will not say. Or say some video disgracing Mr. Asiedun Ketia. I haven't seen it. Who is disgracing Mr. Asiedun Ketia? Please send it to me on WhatsApp if you have my WhatsApp number. I haven't seen it. Send me the link on WhatsApp. Let me take a look at it. Anyway, so the reason why I'm here today is to talk about President Mahama's recent accolade, and I say recognition. Let's put it that way. Recent recognition, President Mahama Enya globally from a group called DEVEX. Yeah. So this it's an independent media organization. So it's an organization. DEVEX for no organization or recognize President Mahama. Me personally, na menti DEVEX for Nkada. So I had to go and do my own little research to find out who are these people, why have they decided to give President Mahama this recognition and all that. But after finding out who they are and why they've given the recognition, I think that it fits President Mahama, and it is the truth. And let's break it down a little bit. So DEVEX for no one more year, a leading independent media organization that focuses on global development. Okay, so they focus on global development. They look at the whole world and how various countries and various continents are faring, etc., etc. Now they look at issues to do with poverty reduction. They look at issues to do with health. They look at issues to do with climate, humanitarian aid, economic progress, and how countries are faring in terms of sustainable development goals, SDGs. It's we no focus on. Now, reports, edema like major NGOs across the world, huge donors. So, for example, somebody like Bill Gates Foundation could maybe ask them to do some research or something for them, and then once they are done, publish it. And because they are a leading independent media organization, it is often such organizations, especially independent, are often perceived to be very objective, because then they owe no biases to anybody. Until usually in a year, opinions, it matters a lot to the world. Until Crawford tend to listen. A classic example, Obiti say, what they buy you Krum Ghana. Sorry, I'm good, sweetheart. Busy the adolescent, the Auntie Marie, they should be going to school, or they shouldn't be. They should be in school, maybe in JS. But about 13% are on alcohol at the moment. It's watching I'll find time and come. And tomorrow I'm free, so yeah, I'll find time and come for us to read that reporting. Who the rationale behind why that is happening in Ghana. Anyway, so an example of an independent organization, I'm say Omoye reports. Emma, Ghana, for example, we are more inclined to believe reports now. Is somebody like Global Musa Dankwa of Global Info Analytics. Yeah, the reason why many more Ghanaians are now opening up to receive polls and information from Musa Dankwa is because you really cannot tell where Musa Dankwa's political leanings are. He's a Ghanaian. He has a vote. Mr. Dankwa Otuaba 2024, but nobody can tell whether Otuaba my NDC or Otuaba my MPP. Why? Because Oyene Juma say MPP to say MPP primary C Oyene Juma or the information for months and months and months. He kept giving information, putting information out, and then his final predictions about the MPP primaries results, he nailed it. 2024 elections, he nailed it. 2023 MPP primaries, he nailed it. NDC Babaye election, Saturday, he's on it, giving information out, etc., etc. So the final predictions, perhaps tomorrow or something like that for the Saturday primaries. Now, not primaries, but Saturday, I think it's a by-election. Now, or Ayawaso, no, one of the Ayawasos. Yeah, because there's East and West, or the Beba. Somebody like that, the company, and the organization, very objective. There's no bias towards MPP or no bias towards NDC or Kano. Said the end of the day, the results will speak for themselves. Into BBC and DEVEX for sono or more. Now, these DevEx people have gone ahead to select 50 most powerful and as a most influential leaders around the world. Okay, 50 most powerful and most influential leaders around the world. They didn't say political leaders. Into we are not specifically looking at presidents and prime ministers and world leaders. No, almost 50 most influential leaders around the world. Into that could include entrepreneurs. It could include, like bankers or heads of big global institutions or whatever. So it's a mixture of a NIPA from around the world. And yes, specifically say they looked at 50 world leaders, political world leaders. So please, that's the distinction there. And yes, I can't say you be a mistake. That's the distinction. They looked at 50 most powerful and influential people who are making a difference in the world as we speak today. And almost share from global development policy, financing, and innovation. Into all these people they've selected, no. From a global development perspective, not just development within their respective countries or their respective continents, but they've transcended their countries, their continents. They are now looking at the whole world as a whole. In terms of financing as well and innovation, just coming up with brand new out of the box ideas. And so almost nipa 50 na almost selected, number 5 was Ghana, current president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, came number 5 on that list. And before we go into the why, because for everything there is a why, there is a purpose. Before we go into the purpose of it, why President Mahama was selected and why Obey number 5, just quickly whiz through we might not do all 50 of them, no, but just for information purposes, and those who made it. So I'm on their website now, devex.com. The first person is a gentleman called Benjamin Black. Benjamin Black, or your chief executive officer at the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. Okay. They give a backstory of him and why he's on the list. And I'm not going to go into it. You can go and read for yourself. But why Juma with USAID and so on and so forth. Why the next person is a gentleman called Sidi Ould Tah, president at the African Development Bank. This gentleman became president of the African Development Bank just last year, 2025, after leading the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa. Okay. Where he oversaw a 75% expansion in assets and drove non-performing loans to historic lows, etc., etc. He previously served as Mauritania's Minister of Economic Affairs and Development, giving him experience across government and multilateral finance. And then they tell us why he's on the list. Third person is a lady called Anna Makanju, Vice President of Global Impact at OpenAI. They give a backstory and why she's on the list. Fourth person, Alexander Berger, co-founder and CEO at Coefficient Giving. Okay, so the backstory to that is Alexander Berger was the first employee of Open Philanthropy, originally set up by Holden Karnofsky and Eli Hassenfeld, who are also the founders of effective altruism organization GiveWell. It's anything nice to do with philanthropy, okay? And then they tell us why he's on the list. And then the fifth person on the list, as Ghanaians, is our president, President John Dramani Mahama. It's John Mahama, president of Ghana. Backstory. John Mahama assumed presidency of Ghana in January. This is his second term, but not his second consecutive term, which we know that. Sorry. He was previously elected in 2012, but lost a re-election bid in 2016. He has also served as vice president in parliament. He has also served as vice president in parliament and in ministerial roles, i.e., why vice president to pay, why member of parliament to pay, and why minister, why ministerial roles pay, and was the first co-chair of the United Nations Advocacy Group on the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, I didn't know this fact about President Mahama. I'm just finding out now. I never knew that. So President Mahama was co-chair of the SDGs UN Advocacy Group. Well done, President Mahama. Now, why President Mahama is on the list? So why they chose him to be on the list? Mahama has emerged as a leading voice pushing for a new deal for African development. Yeah, a new deal for African development, shaping debates on debt relief, trade reform, which is the reparations President Mahama has been fighting for, climate finance, arguing that Africa must renegotiate its place in the global economic order rather than simply adapt to declining aid. Okay, so Africa, what President Mahama is trying to tell us is that, and what he's been pushing for the advocacy all year is that rather than Africa just declining aid to kind of flex to the West to say, oh, no, Africa should be looking at it from a different perspective of how they renegotiate the whole global economic order. Or say last August, he hosted a group of African leaders, policymakers, and global health experts in the Ghanaian capital of Accra, where they launched a new vision toward African health sovereignty, rooted in national ownership, more equitable global cooperation, which President Mahama. I like that. Yeah, that it was part of the Accra reset. African health sovereignty, because African diseases are different from diseases Abrofono one must suffer from. So much diseases bebrea Abrofono pump a lot of money into. Mostly diseases are affected before the most. Bill Gates and then with Epstein files. Bill Gates nisika bebrebe na wapampi into malaria around the continent of Africa. COVID, Bill Gates, Melinda Gates. Say she fears for Africans na nyamia memua Africans betitiato. Africans be to from sebi say a year Africans be ebufu ya to be the money Melinda Gates no so I like the fact that President Mahama is calling for African health sovereignty. Africa must own its own whatever in terms of how you be resolve you be share your health. So COVID by I think it was Mauritius that also came up with their own neem tree concoction. Let me not say concoction. I think that's demeaning the whole effort, But I think it was Mauritius. They came up with, a druby, the neem tree, and they tried to get the WHO to really pay attention and buy into that idea and perhaps pump some money into it for more research, etc., etc. But I don't think it gained the attention and that almost we all had to rely on the Abrofone i.e. the AstraZeneca, the Sputnik V, etc., etc. It's about time President Mahama Diokano, Africa, it will be sovereign. Say this belongs to Africa, and that is it. Rooted in national ownership, meaning that every African country will play a role and every country will own their own, will take ownership of their inputs. They then reconvened during the UN General Assembly this past September last year to expand the framework beyond health to development more broadly and to move beyond the African continent to serve as a global agenda. And President Mahama came up with this brilliant idea, sold it to all African leaders. They bought into the idea. Then collectively, President Mahama led the charge and took it to the United Nations General Assembly, local pushy or so then it has become global now, a global agenda. Some of the presidents we saw, and now we keep seeing with President Mahama whenever it comes to this Accra reset is Obasanjo, former Nigerian president, and then some other Abrofo, Omoko Davos recently, the Accra reset played, President Mahama played a role, or some of the side events, or Davos, and they with the Accra reset. So this is how this DevEx group have selected President Mahama based on Enyama or championing. They've dubbed it the Accra Reset, an effort to declare an end to the era of development as usual and to push for the creation of new governance, business, and financing models in response to the US aid cuts. Mahama has served as the leading hands-on advocate of this new vision, with former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo advising him. So President Obasanjo is an advisor to President Mahama on this Accra reset. Now, President Mahama kasa wo Zambia na meeting no. Utie President Mahama kasa mu bia, it makes me very proud of myself and the input I have made on social media. Anytime I listen to President Mahama speak, I give myself a pat on the back. Say, Marie, why are there? Why you be? Because utie President Mahama kasa mu bia na, he gives credit indirectly. But President Mahama Mayehu all the time say, yebegu social media so Ghana media omwane kasa na yekikamu social media so sebi mo fanchemi o empo atem didi ebe mu ayedi ye nibribe gu ye mpenyo. President Mahama fani nyina as feedback wan jaji yen. And only had me power President Mahama take opposition, that was the time some of us took to social media. 2019, 2018, leading to 2019, then came COVID 2020. That was when majority of us took to social media and we unleashed our anger on our African leaders. Some of us, we unleashed the anger on the Ghanaian leaders. Former presidents, sitting presidents at the time, President Akufo-Addo. Yes, I will never deny, sabi insults and insults bemu. Insults bemu. And as much as insults ninyano, there be a mekase, it came to play a role. It is said enframa airboy, it is a storm. Insults nene enframa be na. It was a necessary evil. It woke our leaders up. And ma womu nyaneye. Mokai Trini Jonas bano o descendi gu yempeni fo no so a metu me bana me de media ka ho yenua be ma Kevin Taylor so no de ne de guso sa then came a group bi omo se ye fra freedom fighters omo so beti gu mpeni fo iso ye de ne kakra ka ne na Oliver Bakavoma wo so de ne de gbebo mo fix the country enti na te na ye heja mpeni fo no omo be sori bia na ye fire nko ha. So from left, right, and center. But President Mahama wan jaji ewo bonimu. President Mahama fa pen ni paper. And what joti ye feedback ni na me the credit ma ye decide you money na empo mo amosuna mo ba na mo comment. Yes, give them, let's give them ye de go go. President Mahama fa feedback ni na try de bia President Mahama or kas one Ghana for ta catch ye say on follow social media ba, because that is where he gets the feedback from, direct feedback from the public. Direct feedback from the general public, because the general public are on social media train womadre. So President Mahama took the feedback, as difficult as it was watching his children insulting on social media, because it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't pleasant. And you're regretful, but in a way, no, we can also say out of all some framane boy, has come something beautiful like this, that today you and I feel proud that our president has received such accreditation, not even accreditation, but such extra credentials or accolades or recognition or however you want to call it. But doesn't it make us proud? Doesn't it make us proud? For me, it makes me proud. That out of the collectively, men can say any videos no kwa empomo na mo commenting na mo ka ho bi, because why not go social media to our own read the comments. In fact, a lot of people, when they go on people's videos, it is not nipa na okasa no normal show. They are reading the comments. Comments no normal kind. Nti which say ni nyina ka ho bi, as well as no President Mahama na nkasa so with the greatest of respect to him, no also ne personal introspection as a human being, ne personal reflection as a human being, ne now fufua edono oma antwe omo ho amfiri ne ho no the Ghana die asam to obi a na ne now fufuo nyina twe omo ho efiri ne ho. But me gidi say kakra na omo antwe omo ho amfiri President Mahama ho. Omo don said ye na otie bia nsema na MPP fo aka fa ne ho a nipa gidi ye nyina, but omo tena ho omo fa ne saa no omo nyina feedback e bia na sorry na sofo ne spiritual leaders feedback omo de man no bibia any ono aso ne koto ne, obviously advice from mama Mrs. Lodina Mahama, I believe from his family members, even from his children, ninyina plus ono ankasa going before Ninyankopon and asking God to perhaps give him another opportunity and everything. President Mahama came back with brilliant ideas that today the whole world is witnessing. The whole world is witnessing, the whole world is acknowledging. And Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa Kasa wo Zambia ho. Honorable Ablakwa say, ever since Devex Fue report by invitations of President Mahama Enyan globally, they don't even know which one to respond to. Or see Zambia for no kurano, or mo ye lucky, say President Mahama it me agree, say Obeba invite or state visit. Just a papa in a diary, fully booked, I believe, for the next 5 years. President Mahama, the diary fully, just this year, which is a diary no closed. He hasn't put us to shame, sweetheart. He hasn't, yourself included. And it makes me proud of the work we did and on the work we continue to do. It makes me very proud. It makes me very proud as a Ghanaian and as an African. And then Rana Juno Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa Kachere Ghanaian community ne was Zambia. Na Ghana for gu Zambia nyasem kitu already. Let me digress a little bit. Ghana for gu Zambia nyasem kitu. Hey! Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa was saying hotel nam say Intercontinental Hotel omoko jiye. Room omoji space in Konya. Now they had to ask the hotel to bring more chairs. The hotel brought more chairs into the room. It got to a point people were standing up just to go and listen to President Mahama, and some of them to even see him for the first time. Simply amazing. And okay, so ever since this report came out, invitations from all over the world. Everybody wants to experience this person called John Mahama. A person who was once upon a time written off. He was written off in Ghana. People said, "Oh, to be a president, oh, John Mahama, they won't forget. Oh, maybe, oh, airbus scandal. Oh, government official one. Oh, yeah." That's why I'm very careful these days with Nsembe. I make for certain individuals, i.e., Dr. Bawumia, for example. Then now, Rebecca Auntie Vicky said, "Never say never." What is a member can be? Min can't be that. Said Dr. Bawumia can never be. Min can't be that. No. The most I will say is that it's too soon for him to think he can become president next 3 years. Yeah. Dr. Bawumia should learn from President Mahama with the greatest of respect. You see, and run a Jomiti Honorable Kujato Ablakwa, then me President Mahama's speech, me decided to be a video yana pay. All I said to my husband was, Dr. Bawumia is rushing too much. And the more you're rushing, the more mistakes you're prone to make, the more say what MPP moko opposition. What just say one resting MPP unresting. Yet to Abari December 7th, 2024. By the time you enter a new year, January 2025, by March, you people have started announcing your top-down approach, bottom-one approach, etc., primaries, etc. Maya, Dr. Bawumia. And then Samuko Dr. Bawumia, cleverly, Dr. Bawumia, with the greatest of respect to him, but you people are forcing us to come and do the politics. Me, I don't want to start doing the politics now. It's too early. But very cleverly, Dr. Bawumia went and wrote on his Facebook, oh, I'm going to the United Kingdom. I'm off to Oxford. I'm going to speak at an event. I've been invited by a world-renowned economist, blah, blah, blah. So now, by association, or signed and world-renowned economists now trying to prove, say, look, even world-renowned economists believe in me. They still invite me to come and speak at places like Oxford University. Say, oh, a psychological game. But it's too early for that MPP. It's too early. So say, as opposition leader, fair enough. But does the MPP really think, say, moving forward, BBC Wagana ho, Emma Ebia, Dr. Bawumia as opposition leader will try and come and, slam President Mahama on something maybe President Mahama will do or say or whatever. And Ghana for you people have put Dr. Bawumia in a position where moving forward, Obiena Nope will come and shut it down. Obiena Nope Baba be shutting it down. Obiena no Ghana for be shutting it down. And that's not going to help him for election 2028. It's not going to help him. And ya many Dr. Bawumia pa and ye marry and ye for some time. But Obiena no Baba shutting it down. Because Bibian you Dr. Bawumia Baba can Ghana for ye beti. And then I'm of YouTube. It's like being in a bad, abusive relationship. Now, we're free relationship. Now, no one year remorseful, crano wasaba, fachame. What's the question now? One do obekun. It is too soon. It is too soon. Political strategies, be any reason ha, or Nemobeya, Janet, the Amakoye MPP for. Mopa na meetie Dr. Your friend is saying Dr. Arthur Kennedy. He made reference to Larry Gibson. Mokai chasing the elephant into the bush. Maybe read it. Dr. Arthur Kennedy say he is the author of that book. I'm surprised he's now telling us after everything he has said about Dr. Bawumia. Where's the book? I'm trying to find it. After everything he has said about Dr. Bawumia, I'm surprised Dr. Arthur Kennedy is now telling us that we should give Dr. Bawumia a chance. On what basis? On what basis are we going to give Dr. Bawumia a chance? It's a bad relationship. You broke our hearts just 2 years ago. Chasing the elephant into the bush. And I'll be posing questions from Dr. Arthur Kennedy's book to Dr. Arthur Kennedy himself as to why he is now telling us that we should give Dr. Bawumia a chance. But you see, Dr. Arthur Kennedy is doing exactly what many Ghanaians have been programmed to do. Let's all revert back to the party. Party ninti. Ebina President Kufuor kachere me woni fia. Me ne me kanzi ye bold kachere President Kufuor point blank say enye adwuma. Enye adwuma. President Kufuor he said it to me. Munje bibie mu nanka ekuo ninti. Na me ne me kanzi no wa land side. Ye kachere President Kufuor say we dey respectfully. Ye very strong ye budu ye do but enye adwuma. Me catch President Kufuor plain. You say you're a President Mahama. Into Mesa Babe kind bookie, maybe Sir Dr. Arthur Kennedy questions. Mokai Judge be election petition justice. MCSU were free Justice Marfosao election petition 2021. So opesu we di ma Akufo-Addo enti afa de ono ani book mu nsem kora ye di bisa no lawyer Chachuchi kata pose question free ono ani book ana watchro mu kora papa ne senyo ne kan eso ne wo wa book a watchro. Yeah. And you know, Ghana for moment you're proud of President Mahama, and I don't know how Dr. Baumia is going to beat a record like this. You know, this is the person who this is you can't even say this is exemplary leadership anymore. President Mahama was bro exemplary leadership also. President Mahama nyasema was like a British House of Commons. He didn't start to see anymore. General Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa or see or the proposal or call African foreign affairs ministers meeting be or putting in proposal for them to make President Mahama the head of the AU. Or say not a single one of the foreign ministers and opportunity. They didn't even care how their own presidents were going to feel about the decision they had gone to make at that meeting, because unanimously all of them endorsed President Mahama to be African Union leader, God willing, next year, 2027. Abrofun have taken notice of this guy called John Mahama. Now, who is this guy? Abrofun in the area. UN another statement and Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa you know how recently Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa he's been giving the US people, you know, match almost squarely, like some Ghanaian diplomats apparently, was it Israel or so? Israel you deported Bibisa. Then he also reciprocated the same action in Ghana. Then I think there was something to do with the US as well. Ghana also reciprocated. And Emma Ghana for Bebre started some bashi Honorable Okujeto on Twitter near the day. Or see, people think I sit down and I take these decisions by myself. No, I don't. I get the support or the backing or the instruction from the president. Because President Mahama is a boot for boot person. Or see, he doesn't play with his citizens. It would be Ghana for someone a diplomat to send a diplomat, so your ordinary citizen or wherever, home or abroad. This a one take say obi the injustice be Ghana and be President Mahama will come to Ghana in any defense. I was also happy that Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa cleared Sadia, no, because now Ghana for be say or nona or you know, as foreign minister, no, because we hear the MPP, his MPP counterparts. In fact, there was a press conference recently say President Mahama Ejumani free himself. So yesterday he made very clear, saying no, he can't do anything without the support of the president. Actually, it is President Mahama himself making these decisions through his foreign minister, and it needs to be respected. Similarly, ABC war UK just 2-3 days ago, a British diplomat was expelled in Russia. Immediately, British government and so as someone Russian ambassador UK almost say yes, we are about to expel also. Revoke get them out of the UK. It's reciprocation. As a law idea what countries do it, even in diplomacy. You know, but yeah, I wanted to come and discuss this report today. The rationale behind President Mahama being the 5th most influential, one of the most influential leaders in the world as we speak. Charlie Edipo, we are not talking about it enough. Ghana media is not talking about it enough. It is deep. You count the whole world most influential people, most powerful. President Mahama made it on the list. British Prime Minister Kura didn't make it on the list. I had him. Okay, so the 6th person is a lady called Doreen. You're the top 10. 6th person after President Mahama is a lady called Doreen Bogdan Martin. Or no, yeah, Secretary General at the International Telecommunications Union. And then there's Kella Reynaldo Clifton, co-founder and CEO of Zipline. And then number 8 is Mohammed Ali Memekane Pate. Yeah, Pate. And Apate, I don't know. Coordinating Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare in Nigeria. And then number 9, Jeremy Lewin, a senior official and undersecretary for Foreign Assistance, Humanitarian Affairs and Religious Freedom at the U.S. Department of State. And number 10, Benaife Noroji. I hope I've said her name right. President at Open Society Foundations. And then the list goes on and on. Intinia. Nyamisha President Mahama this time he didn't just come to a broaden horizon or looking beyond Jabez and Paiboni be. I'm saying President Mahama or Jabez and Paiboni was saying, Lord Eradi, expand my coasts and my territories. President Mahama's coasts and his territories have been expanded. Now he's gone beyond Ghana, he's gone beyond Africa, he's now impacting the whole world. Nipa say, and our person will match a record in 2028. About we MPP. The whole nation will rally behind President Mahama. The whole nation will rally behind President. Whoever President Mahama tells us to vote for in 2028 is who we are going to vote for. Simple. Because at some point, somebody will emerge from the NDC. Somebody will become flag bearer from the NDC. Maybe what my preference, maybe 2 preferences, but I can't hear now. And out of my 2 preferences, I can kind of perceive but as we go along, it will become more and more obvious. We'll be able, and by all means, President Mahama will campaign for that individual in Mareneshua. NDC the whole nation will rally behind that person because President Mahama said so. Or President Mahama ain't gonna tell us to go and vote for Dr. Bawumia. In fact, tumufu. So now more person competition. At the end, very competitive. And come for Honorable Kennedy Japan, but now at least. And when we need general election, no credit it would have been tough. Even for Honorable Kennedy Japan, it would have been very tough for him because of the record of the MPP. So Honorable Ken, he would have given Ankobema campaign day and but on winning because of MPP. It been a two Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak was a fantastic guy, but the party, Conservative Party, bad reputation at that time and a bad poor track record at that time affected Rishi Sunak as an individual. The same thing would have happened to Honorable Ken. But in the Dr. Bawumia case, it's not just the bad record or the poor whatever of track record of the Akufo-Addo administration. Dr. Bawumia himself as an entity, Ghana Foneni will become. On one Kasankasa as an entity, Ghana Foneni will become. And he knows. He knows. It's an everyone wants to say MPP for mine to me and stress and nema we. Anyway, yes, someone to me, the MPP they knew. Not we knew, but most more party tradition. Thinking that the rest of the country, you were time for more party tradition. And anyway, nobody's going to force us to do politics anymore. Because as a more person more force it or mine to start giddy or mine when we start giddy campaign. Yeah. And my shop, your dream, your G and Nick President Mahama, Yenema, dear fair. And then you can say inflation, free 5.4, do 3.8 as at NRA, honorable at 2.4 in the babo. And no home common ye be due. Yeah, may ye did it by ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Inflation won't come on ye baby, and I'm 3.8 as at NRA. Honorable at 2.4 in the buy or buy all this. Oh, emoji now, yes, it is a classic, posh. Good news. Any 3.8. You people had 8 years. And here I'm what they call junk status. Junk status. Today, inflation is 3.8. Gold board is booming. Fuel price is reduced. Me a minti Ghana and puna meniaji. Now more Ghana. What you say? I am minti Ghana, minto fuel or Ghana and puna meniaji. What you say? Fuel prices reduced. Inflation 3.8. The dollar is doing marvelously well. CD is running. President Mahama say a guy called the CD. Munkoti Zambia. The speech was Zambian, right? Like Ede, you mwede. Or say a guy called the CD. Today the guy called the CD. No one no ma dollar no punches. Every President Mahama kai. Munkoti, I'm just paraphrasing, but he said it. He said it. What I say? Now you more you call junk status. Oh, the junk status enre ya recover nwe oba ya sebe yakonya new boyfriend and I make it's like a relationship. Who abusive relationship mu. Na wabomania na what do you free. No wakonya new boyfriend just treat you with love and care and respect and honor. Not defe ona wuji wenin now old one if he by our say home mobo fachemina sanje me back. Yes, Angel back. The anymore wing. Trimu din. And Dr. Kennedy card and then answer what TV nation. Or say or no Dr. Bawumia Anka, he will not allow Akufo-Addo to be anywhere near him. Now, so the MPP are so insensitive. You see, MPP when you're strategic. Maybe you people should come and hire me as one of your strategic people. You see, things like Saturday, no. President Akufo-Addo Eba stage in Swababe Kasano. You people started playing as Papa be a match. You know, ya near hit some nerves. A kai Ghana for a yaw, a buffo, bon, Chinyama be or why yet. When you say area so it has a very strong emotional attachment. To the moment I heard as Papa be a mati uye, I felt like turning the television off. And so I don't know because mufu samo yayen two mufu biya munti MPP. We're still traumatized from the old boyfriend, sweetheart. We're still traumatized. Now we have a new one who's taking us to Dubai, taking us to Bali, taking us to Bora Bora, all these exotic places, nice hot vacations, buying us nice things. We are enjoying life. Then suddenly this old boyfriend who caused us all this trauma, you resurface. And you come and tell us, yes, we should take you back. Take you back where? Take you back where? This is how Dr. Bawumia needs to look at the whole thing. No, we can't take you back. We are abusive. Not in the physical sense, we'll say, or not per se. But we are comparing this whole political scenario, MPP, to President Mahama, how he's treating us as to say a Obani Bema relationship. Now the MPP are the abusive relationship. More by abusing. As or my more by abusing. You treated us really badly. More abusing, more bro and black and blue, more JJ pensioners, Sika DDP, can name them. Pensioners maybe woo in ade. Krono amode boy and the finance minister Ghanaian Omra was so ma. The total disrespect. How do we descend from Mr. BJ Darocha, my step-grandfather? That was my grandmother, the last partner before they both died. How do we descend from Mr. BJ Darocha, first chairman of MPP, to now potentially chairman Wuntumi becoming the chairman of the New Patriotic Party? What a decline. What a decline. She said, Ghana for Nana Mumuyeng. How do we descend from Mr. BJ Darocha's MPP? Dr. Nyaho Tama close MPP. All these impending for Mr. J.H. Mensah's MPP. President Kufuor's MPP. Name them Dr. Addo Kufuor's MPP. Mr. Jenim Boatenum MPP. To now suddenly Chairman Wuntumi wanting to become the national chairman of the MPP. That's how much of a joke the MPP has become. That is how much of a joke. Yanka mobe restore mo image kakra anka ya announcement straight at the end of the Mr. Boacheja case closed. We are talking Mr. Hackman Owuswa Jemainum MPP and Tiama Buzianum MPP. Now reduced to Chairman Wuntumi. No disrespect to him as a person, but who MPP ni awankasa bisa uhu shebe bia MPP free na shebe bia ba bedru the caliber of people sebe like Chairman Wuntumi any omo aka are trying to compete with Mr. Boachie Jakonom. So that more the command here, no abejan, no abe so na ho akere yen, no abe ye yes and near no polling station for polling station. Somebody who can't even say political terminologies, right? You can't say them correctly. Political terminology. You are the chairman of a huge region, one of the largest regions, who define Ghanaian elections. You cannot even pronounce political terminologies correctly. Polling station was a pooling station. What are we pooling? National chairman. What a joke. What a big fat joke. Enti sano, yes, we am penemo, enti ya blockomo. And ya ba blockomo, and ya blockomo general election. Aha, until you block every general election, sebi. Pardon me, we will keep blocking that nonsense. We will keep blocking that nonsense. We will keep, because it is nonsense. We will keep blocking it at every general election until say mobile satiafa or mine seriously. Now what every general election. As for the nonsense, you can do it on party level. But when it comes to national level, during a national general election, we will block the nonsense. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And the NDC has the track record through President Mahama. Mahama 1, Mahama 2, track record clean and down. Honorable are too forcing. Enya Bema Sami Jenfinum Gold Board. Near me cost to Fefe Bibri, President Mahama track record or globally. Recognition or globally. Mobile them BT. Mobile then I will be actually we will not take Bible lessons from a drinking spot. I don't know what that means. But yeah, it ain't gonna happen. No. Kwatua ba my chairman. Or we are what time Ghana Gold the Apkoche radio station. Say yeah, share how much he has made from Ghana Gold. Or we are Bugana Mraswa say yes, you and Sansi. Yeah, Mao a license a quanaquia prospecting, no what started to 2 or minor to 2 assassinate take gold and any other day. Oh boy, ain't gonna happen. Only shallow-minded like some person here. Nanamo, only shallow-minded people like Nanamo will vote for MPP. There be no obi any who I said I IQ no what should I obekwa to aba no emfa. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, fancy her. President Mahama Ayade, and I just wanted us to really celebrate him on this latest recognition. I don't think, is it an achievement for President Mahama? It is in a way, but I think it's more of a recognition, which I hope we can celebrate him more on that and talk about it more as Ghanaians, because then he's made a huge impact, not just in Ghana. Just a Ghana, let's forget. We're making Ghana, and you see, it is up to us Ghanaians to really recognize what is happening with President Mahama, through President Mahama globally, and really soak it all in and really tap into President Mahama and yentri bibia yebetumi atwe free nemuno yentri no nimre ya okay. That is why some of us think a third term need to be by make a supporting 100%. But I'm say third term unkomono ye jaibo. You know, but President Mahama ayade. And if we don't see it, and if we don't talk about it, the rest of the world is having that conversation about President Mahama. We need to be seen. It is our conversation. Let us sustain the conversation. Let us Ghanaians sustain this President Mahama conversation was a tea. This is like the second Kwame Nkrumah. Nanka one fugu President Mahama eko share edisi free premo and fugu is all over the place. Today, people who didn't know about fugu are learning about fugu for the first time, reading the history about fugu for the first time. And interestingly, it is connecting us back to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, because he also wore the fugu even on the day he declared Ghana's independence. Men who said share photos of the Big Six, and it took President Mahama to wear a fugu for this conversation to spark this conversation on the internet. And so, yeah, well done to President Mahama. We love our president, and we continue to wish him all the best, good health, long life, and more divine wisdom. Now, on Fanchitri or Milo. Great. Yes, I made pa. Ochina, me peta mabana yedi mo nkomo. And then just when we think, say, we want to really end on a high, then an idea, boom. Chairman who to me will become the next MPP chairman, Nigel Gazy. Nyen Rayan, Yenina ye to a soft for prophet, so-called prophet for. Says I deal with Omunyai. And yen Raya, any yenina based on the actual Sofo El Bernardi. Any yenina ye catch the Ghanaian prophets. And he fuck na who in advanced democracies. Or money bachelor mo democracy no UK US no. That Ben was ye beto about UK prophets. And why I say prophets e be in UK? Why I say prophets e be in United States of America? In fact, mo buy mo prophets Ghana mo nyina. Enya abrofu ya na chere mo. Enya abrofu ya na chere mo. That Ben was ye beto about UK. And now US are prophets are sorry they will manu to declare election results. Some when you like any shame. When you know any shame. And therefore, start disregarding some of these people. Start disregarding some of them. It doesn't make any sense. And now no man who say, kita bottle now I say what throw on rabo Kennedy Japan did 13 times or they share bottle no can seven yankopon who nipa baako out of 33 million. Who no obehwe and obe decide this will be the president and will be the president. And will be a flag bearer and will be a flag bearer. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to end on a high. I'll be say, who made this comment? I'll say, Marie, we as humans can stop talking about John Mahama's third term. But if it is the will of God, nothing can stop it, not even Mahama himself. No, dear, yeah, but I said, Mama, no, Jena home, why be? I know why I'm saying that. But the most important thing is that you better ama obia or align with President Mahama. And like I keep saying, as time progresses, from the NDC, obia or align with President Mahama, ye name se onipa chrono. But President Mahama is not President Akufo-Addo, Yebeka say obemani or your bad influence on the person. No. President Akufo-Addo definitely has been bad influence on Dr. Bawumia, and it has affected Dr. Bawumia, but that's for them to deal with. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay. All right then, guys. I love you, and God willing, we'll come and talk about, I'll try, the adolescent alcohol situation in Ghana. Bye. God bless you. Bye-bye.